Hello, this is Smoke and Joe Gamer on YouTube, and this is my second episode of The Vinyl Guy, where I talk about some of the vinyl records I've collected over the past 10 years. So today, this is the second album that I bought when I started collecting back in 2012. This is Minus the Bears, Infinity Overhead. So it came out in August of 2012. That was right when I got the turntable and started buying records. I pre-ordered it directly from the website. Came out on Dangerbird Records, so I pre-ordered straight from them, and because it's a limited edition and all that. So let's get into this. So first off, here's your cover art, and then here's the back. It's very colorful. It's very chaotic. It really matches their sound. I've always just thought of them as alternative rock, but they've been called math rock, experimental rock, progressive rock, glitch rock. There's even some kind of techno elements to their songs and stuff. So they have some upbeat kind of tracks, but then they also have some very somber ones, and they're an interesting band. They're not around anymore. This was their fifth full-length album, and prior to that was Omni, which was an okay album, and then they released an acoustic album, and then a compilation of rarities, and then finally in 2017 they released Voids. That was their last album before they broke up. They also have a live album from their final tour. So anyways, let's just talk about this album. Now, this folds right out, and here's all the guys from the bands, and they don't look very happy. They are not, they do not write a lot of happy songs, no. So on their early albums, they had some really funny and weird kind of song titles, but around the time when they released Planet of Ice, that's when the titles got more serious, and the production values increased as well. So I don't know if they would qualify as an indie group. Like, they were never on a major label as far as I'm aware. But now I'm just going to pull this out for you, and this is, yeah, the record comes in this, so more of this weird artwork. It's a woman's face chopped up into jagged pieces. I know that sounds awful, but this was a limited edition clear vinyl that I think you could only get if you pre-ordered directly from their site, although maybe there have been later pressings of this. I'm honestly not sure. Like I said, it released in August 2012, right when I started collecting. I pre-ordered, and I was like, oh, cool, let's just get this. So it's a neat album. It's not my favorite album from them. That would be Planet of Ice, which I think is arguably their best one. But this has some good songs on it. I just listened to it again to get ready, for this video. So it's kind of going to do just a track by track kind of explanation here. So the first track is Steel and Blood. That had a video. You can still find that, I'm sure. And the lyrics, there's references to bourbon, driving, car accidents, so I guess it's about, the dangers of drunk driving and crashing. So don't drink and drive. Okay. Now, Lies and Eyes, that's a cool song. Like, both of those songs kind of have kind of weird kind of rhythms going on if you listen to them, kind of undulating rhythms. And so a lot of their music, what you realize, they have a lot of songs about partying, drinking, sex, relationships, mostly, relationships when they're going south. So that's what Lies and Eyes is. That's one of many songs they've written. It's just kind of about a dysfunctional relationship. A woman's upset because her boyfriend's a doofus, I guess. That's what I got out of it. Now, the song Diamond Lightning, that's where Infinity Overhead comes in. That's where the album title is mentioned. And we all go down to Colson Bridge to where they say all the magic is, over that dried up riverbed, blocked by boulders at both ends. Where we ended and we began, Infinity Overhead, liquid concrete under our feet, tripping on the constellations we see, diamond lightning, seeing where the seams are sewn in. So what I got out of this, I don't know if diamond lightning is a euphemism for something, but it sounds to me like a group of friends went back to their hometown, because Colson Bridge, that's specific. I don't know where that is. But basically, it sounds to me like they all went there and did some mushrooms or LSD or something and just had a crazy acid trip kind of thing. So, but that's a slower song, and it's just kind of more atmospheric. And actually, it's a really cool song. I remember hearing that a lot when this came out, or at least, on YouTube. So it's weird to say things like radio singles, because I think Steel and Blood and Lonely Gun were the singles, but like I don't think you'd ever hear any of these songs on the radio. So I mean, singles take on a different meaning when we're dealing with a streaming services, I would say. But I remember those were two songs that they were really trying to promote pretty heavily. And then Diamond Lightning, I think you can get an acoustic version of that. That sounds pretty good. There's a song called Tosca. Now, that's a Russian word. I think it refers to just great sadness. And so that's the same kind of thing. And it's like he's trying to seduce a woman by telling her outright, oh yeah, I'm a total liar, which I don't know, maybe that works. I don't know. At least if you're upfront about being a jerk, then they know what to expect and they don't get too attached to you. Let's see. And then the song Listing, it seems like he's just kind of depressed after a breakup, is what it sounds like, missing his ex-girlfriend. All right, let's get on to side B. You've got, all right, so there's two songs that I really want to talk about now, because these guys typically don't get really religious or political in any of their songs. Of course, everything's political now. But like I said, they had some of their early song titles, like there's a song called Let's Play Guitar in a 5-Guitar Band, or Monkey Knife Fight. Yeah, they had some really wacky song titles on their early albums. But like they were never, like I don't want to say they weren't a serious band, but it's just, they were having fun, and a lot of songs were about drinking and sex and all that. But so there's two songs on this album that are kind of outliers in their catalog that are worth talking about. The first one is called Heaven is a Ghost Town. So Heaven is a ghost town. The pearly gates fell to the ground. The angels fell 1,000 years before. There's no more. They turned off the tunnel of light. No bathing in the warmth of peace. Did the Lord stop paying the lease? No one told the liars. No message from on high came down. That no one's pure enough for salvation. So no need to praise that empty crown. So yeah, that kind of, I have an emotional response to that, because I was raised Catholic. I was baptized when I was, like a couple months old, as is customary, and they made me go to church, and I went through communion and confirmation and all that. And when I was about 17, it was like, I don't really believe in any of this. I had my doubts. I had questions that didn't really have answers, or not good ones in my opinion. I had actually spent some time in a Lutheran church, which I preferred, but ultimately I identified as atheist for a long time. Now I'm leaning more towards agnostic. I don't really want to get too technical with it all. But no, this kind of, I had a response to this just because, like, there's this idea, like in this song, they're operating on this assumption that it's all true and we've been abandoned. And that's kind of a depressing thought, I don't believe that. Like, I don't believe in God anymore, but, you kind of look at the state that the world is in, and it's kind of like, well, even if he's real, like, what is he really doing at this point? It's hard to say. And I don't want to get evangelicals and far-right people in my comments saying, well, you're an idiot, you just need to read the Bible. I've read the Bible, okay? But I'm not trying to get argumentative here, but it's just an interesting song, So, yeah, so this idea that, no one lives in heaven anymore because no one was good enough to get in. Yeah, okay. So the next song I'm going to talk about is called Zeros. We are common more than we think, and so unique to whoever's behind the eyes. We're the zeros behind the billions, assign numbers so specific. Wake up before the sun, leave your hour to the highway. and your day to line the pockets of some man with the softest hands. Sometimes I think that it's all a sick joke on the middle class. Keep on pushing, keep your head down, and keep your numbers up. I swear on my checkbook you'll be up here soon. We're all counting on you. But your time, oh, that's hard to read. But your time in and time again, spend your weekends finishing dead ends. Years go by, Xerox days of exchanging your life for a paycheck. So it's, you know, obviously they're talking about the economy and everything's political now. And, you know, so you can see, like, I can appreciate the attempt at a kind of a political economic commentary, social commentary. I think it's a bit ham-fisted, but I get the point that they're making, of course. So just the idea of people just working their lives away. Like, most people hate their jobs. Most jobs are meaningless. And, you know, this, and just keep in mind, this came out in 2012. So now, with more people unionizing and going on strike and whatnot, things seem to be improving to some extent, but you can see statistics of how much the people at the top of these companies, how much their wealth has grown, and you can see how, like, minimum wage hasn't really gone up. Wages have not scaled with that. And so, you know, I'm not afraid to get political. I just choose not to, because that's kind of out of scope of what I want to do on my channel and on my videos and stuff. I mostly do video games and stuff. But no, it's still just an interesting song. Just, you know, so I just thought that was worth mentioning. So yeah, those two songs are just very different from the rest of the catalog. They typically don't get into religion or anything political. Although they may not have meant this as a political song, it's just that 10 years ago things were a little different, and we probably wouldn't have even thought of it that way, you know? All right. So then you have a song, Lonely Gun. I think this was a single, if you want to call it that. But, like, I don't really know what it's supposed to be about. So their lyrics can be kind of vague one minute and then kind of specific the next. And I think that's an interesting contrast. I mean, they remind me of The Cure in the sense that they just have a lot of really kind of depressing songs. But they remind me of Death Cab for Cutie in the sense that a lot of their lyrics can get kind of specific. And it's like, okay, clearly he's recounting a specific thing that happened to him, which is fine. Let's see. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that song's supposed to be about, but again, I think it's about a dysfunctional relationship. And the thing is, the guitar player, he uses an interesting, like, auto-wah effect that can get a little annoying. So this is a faster, more upbeat song, but it's also kind of got just this weird guitar effect throughout the whole thing that, I don't always care for. And of course, I haven't done these in order. I've been skipping. I went from here to here to here. So now let's go back to here. Empty Party Rooms. Now, yeah. Right off the bat, that makes me think of, like, you know, you go to parties and everybody's in the living room or the kitchen, or it's an outdoor party and you have all these empty rooms, right? I remember as a kid going to family parties and, like, everyone would kind of go into, like, one of the bedrooms and just throw all their coats on the bed, and, you know. And the other thing is, I've always been very introverted. I had a lot of social anxiety, so sometimes I'd go to parties and there's times where I just wanted to go off and be alone, you know. So I would go into an empty room somewhere and just kind of hang out in there and do stuff. So the radio is playing songs about those loves we never get, besides this one, but then we'd have to admit it, so let's keep it boxed up. A fiction we don't know we're living, pretending to have time to take until we give it. Like vague lyrics, but the title still kind of evokes kind of certain memories of just, you know, being very miserable at social gatherings. But then it's like, but it's the same thing. It's another one of their songs where it's like clearly there's people in this band, clearly like they've had a lot of relationships that ended, and this is how they get some catharsis out of it, I suppose, or some closure. But yeah, I don't know. And I mean, just based on the lyrics, maybe he's talking about going to a party and trying to hook up with somebody, and I don't know, your eyes meet across the room and all that. I don't know. So that brings us to the last song. It's called Cold Company. Now, if you played Rocksmith, you'd be familiar with this. There's some really cool tapped guitar parts in this song. So the lead guitarist, he does a lot of tapping, but this song in particular. So, but this one's interesting because it appears to be referencing Sisyphus from Greek mythology. He had to keep, pushing the stone up the hill. So, feel your hands on the rock, roll the rock up the hill. What did you do to deserve this hell? When you get to the top, watch it roll down again. Are you pushing up the sun and dragging down the moon? Did your feet get wet when she came after you? Keep your hands on the rock, it will finish you if you stop. Cold company, forgive me, this ain't my stone to roll. The skin on my hands can't take it anymore. Feel her hands on your back, feel the world go black, no future and no past. Here now, alive at last, feel your hands on the rock, roll the rock up the hill. If I slip into this dream, when I awake, is it the same? My aching feet can't stand it anymore. Life goes on and on outside the cocoon, inside the moth awaits his turn. So, yeah, so references to the myth of pushing the rock up the hill. I think of it like, when you break up with someone or they break up with you, and you're spending a lot of time alone in your room and just trying to wonder, like, well, where did it go wrong? What could I have done differently? That sort of thing. And we've all been there. So that's what it makes me think of. And that's thing, that last line, the reference to the cocoon and the moth, it's like, yeah, you just kind of cave in on yourself and withdraw, and you go in your room and you shut the door and you put your music on and just wait until you get over it, I guess, or, and that's the thing. So while you're grieving over this thing, time doesn't stop, So I think we've all been in a situation, especially if you've dealt with anxiety or depression like I have, you have periods of time where you just don't really want to go anywhere, you don't want to do anything, you're just existing. And then when you snap out of it, you go on social media or whatever, and you see like, oh, your friends are still going places. Oh, this person got a new car, that person got a new house. That's what it makes me think of, just, when you're grieving and you're depressed and things just aren't going your way, and, you feel like you're stuck in this hell loop, right? So that's an interesting song there. Yeah, so that's all of the songs. I just gave you a brief synopsis on all of them. And like I said, I can't really play the actual songs for you because of copyright and all that. I'm not even sure how that all would work. But yeah, and now this, I think they had emailed me a download code. I think that was part of the package. So there you go. That's Minus the Bear, one of my favorite bands. It's a shame that they're not together anymore, but oh well. And it's called Infinity Overhead. So, that's worth checking out if you're into alternative rock and, All right. So, thanks for tuning in, and see you later.